an hour of truth for the battered but proud people of the Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns of upstate, which once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and we've got Kevin Wilson here with us.
Hello.
Hey, how was your weekend, Kevin?
Oh, it was good. I finally traveled a little bit.
Oh, did you?
Ventured
Where'd
out
you
to
go?
the Utica area. Well, Utica area to visit my parents. So, my mom, there's like a 50-50 chance that she's listening. So, hi, Mom. But no, we went out to Utica area, just had a barbecue outside, and yeah, it was a nice thing. I haven't seen it since Christmas.
Wow, that's a long time. Now, was that because of all the COVID stuff going on, or that just happened to be how the schedule worked out?
Yeah, it's mostly the COVID stuff. Like, we planned on, like, all right, we're going to go out and visit you in March again. You know, we had a busy January and February, and then didn't get out. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that happened to a lot of people. I think I've now got 3 different, trips or travel plans that we were going to do that have been interrupted by COVID. Some of that being libertarian events, for a national convention,
Yep.
to seeing friends and family. We had friends who were actually supposed to come visit us. They're supposed to be here right now, actually, from Czech Republic. That they're not traveling.
Yeah, ain't going to happen.
Yep. So, yeah, the COVID certainly has squashed a lot of people's plans. And now, with New York adding in their mandatory quarantine, which we talked about yesterday, and how even though it's not like the police are going to show up and force people to quarantine, at least not yet, people hearing that there's a mandatory quarantine, they just kind of assume that that's the case, and it stops them from traveling anyways, or they don't actually have a 14-day trip planned where they could quarantine for 14 days and then still enjoy themselves where they're going.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's part of what, like, the Libertarian National Convention is supposed to be in Florida, and you're supposed to have a 2-week quarantine to go down there.
Yep.
Although it looks like that may be canceled now, too. Looks like the hotel where is booked bailed on the party.
Yeah,
so
I
now...
heard that. So, it's pretty interesting, and I'm hearing different strange things from businesses day by day. Communication from the government has not been good. It has not been clear, and some things that some small businesses thought that they were supposed to do, it's just been wildly wrong. Some people are finding out that things that they thought were mandatory were just things that the governor said during his live stream, but they weren't actually in executive order. They're not mandatory at all. They were just like optional suggestions. So they spent maybe a lot of money, a lot of resources, and maybe in some cases reduced staff and therefore those staff income based on stuff that they thought was mandatory that wasn't. So yeah,
just stuff the governor said, spouted off, and communication. It continues to be excellent here in New York, but at least we have wonderful visual aids like Governor Cuomo's conference yesterday with the mountain. Did you see the mountain?
I did not see the mountain. No, please, Kevin, tell me about the mountain.
Oh, goodness. So Governor Cuomo, to show us how much progress he made, they made a chart that it was kind of the outline of like the hospitalizations for COVID-19 in New York State. So it was like a big, sharp increase and then like kind of a sloping down to where we are today. And he had a whole sculpture made, and it was colored like rock. So it was like a mountain. He's like, New York, climb the mountain. And so, so Twitter's making fun because it is, goodness, an ugly chart or ugly like sculpture, and it's no one knows how much it ended up costing or why he made this thing. And it kind of looks like it is the color and texture of Jabba the Hutt. So people started photoshopping Jabba the Hutt onto that mountain, and I tweeted
Oh,
that out yesterday, and so and so like there's captions just like your Jedi mind tricks won't work on me, Governor
oh,
Cuomo.
jeez. You know, that's great. That's awesome. I'm glad our taxpayers paid for a Jabba the Hutt mountain
Yep.
in Cuomo's live stream. That's great. I'm sure the money was well spent. We didn't need it for anything else here in New
No, what
York.
do we need money for in New York State?
Yeah, yeah. Jeez. We were talking yesterday too about how the deficit is, grown to at this point above, I think, 15 billion
Yeah.
is where we are now in New York. Um, and they're talking about not opening the schools, which I think could be a financial thing, to be honest. But I don't want to open up that whole can of worms. So
Yeah.
I'll give. Oh, go ahead.
So that can of worms needs its own special show.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And I see some people popping in the comments here too. If you are listening to the show and you want to participate in the conversation, you can always jump on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, search Andrew C. Hollister, pull up the live stream. You can post a comment. It'll come to my screen and Kevin's screen. And if we look down, which I'm not as good at, but Kevin's a lot better at maintaining the comments, we will see your comments. You can also call into the show. That is 585 346 3000. 585 346 3000. If you guys have anything to contribute, because today we're going to talk about some pretty interesting things. We're going to talk about the couple in St. Louis. If you guys haven't seen them, we have memes for you. So if you're listening on the radio, at some point you may want to jump on the live stream even later, go to YouTube and you can see all the historical live streams that we've done. There's some fun pictures that we're going to share with you guys. The other thing that we're going to discuss is the fireworks, because that has been an issue. I think we've talked about it once or twice, but kind of like scattered here or there. I actually want to talk a little bit, and Kevin, you can tell me what you think about this, but I think we should talk about a few of the conspiracy theories around the fireworks.
Yes. No, I'm
Right?
down for some of this conspiracy theories because I've seen a bunch of them and they are fascinating.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
they
So
come from and how they
I
manifested.
I haven't read into any of them. I've just kind of like heard one or two. I have my own theory that hopefully hasn't been like influenced by anybody else's. So we'll see. If you know a bunch of them, we'll see if my theory aligns with any of the other ones you've seen, Kevin. Um, but so that's what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna scroll through the comments here real quick though, because I thought I saw one that oh yes, so it's from Nate on YouTube, and he says he's honestly baffled at how mainstream media keeps touting out Cuomo like he's doing a fantastic job. Yeah.
He's not.
No, it's and it's funny because I've my social media account, um I'd like to think is fairly well blended. I have people like really far on the left, like progressives, leftists. I've got a lot of centrist people. I've got people on the right, and I see like this whole thing. And in the beginning, kind of like across the board, most people when he started his live streams way back, like where we like 130 days ago or something, um, everybody seemed to be like, "Wow, I really like how Cuomo's handling this. He's being clear and communicative." And people on the right were like, "Yeah, I gotta give it to Cuomo. He's doing a good job." Well, that lasted about 2 weeks.
Yeah. So after a couple of weeks of that, we're like, all right, man, like you're just using this to have an excuse to be in front of the media to talk about whatever your political priorities are and to show up and then not answer questions about the actual failings of New York State. No matter how many times he said that we own this, we're all in this together. No accountability whatsoever. Just complete and utter mess. And it seemed
Yeah.
like good communication at first, but it's a mess. And I think New York really botched this in a lot of ways.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so now my kind of, social media group of people, if you will, um, now it seems that they're all tilting the other way pretty significantly. Like after about 2 weeks, it started to be like, I don't really want to hear Cuomo anymore, or he's not answering questions, or does anybody understand this? Because he makes it sound like it makes sense, but then when I look at it, it doesn't really make sense. To now, people seem pretty unhappy with him. And obviously the nursing home stuff isn't helping him at all. And his reaction to the nursing home stuff, he doubled down on it the other day again.
Of course he did.
Yeah, it's, at some point, you just got to admit that you really screwed up. But Cuomo just doesn't seem to be capable of doing that. So
Nope, doesn't fit his political narrative as a hero.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What would we do without King Cuomo to be here to scrape up all the money out of our wallets and protect us from everything?
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we are going to talk about St. Louis. We're going to talk about, was this a Second Amendment win? Was it a Second Amendment fail? Does it have anything to do with the Second Amendment? Love to hear what you guys think. We're going to talk about that when we come back on Radio Free New York.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whenever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
I'm Las from Action Towing and Service. We are the biggest towing company in New York State, but we do a lot more than just towing. We will tow just about anything, but we will also repair just about anything as well. We offer a courtesy shuttle and pickup. We offer a drop box service. We have all these amenities that we've put in place to make sure that every one of our customers can receive the best service possible. Please give us an opportunity to win your business. Come down and visit us at 275 Marketplace Drive, right off of Jefferson Road.
A reminder from Abate Monroe County. American bikers aim toward education. Distracted driving is dangerous, so pull over and eat. Don't try to read your mail and newspaper, and stay off your cell phone. Make a mental note to be more alert, making it a habit to expect the unexpected. Remember to look twice. Save a life. Train yourself to watch for motorcycles which are harder to see. Join Abate, and your family will be protected with a free $4,000 accident policy. Ride safe. Ride free. Ride often. Abate. If you ride with us. Google Abate Monroe County.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
I was running.
There it is, the Fonz. He can't admit when he's wrong, just like Governor Cuomo. You know what? That word just phrase may not be in his dictionary. That could be the problem. He just doesn't know how to say it, so he's just got double down, double down, double down, keep making up excuses, making up reasons, and he just can't admit it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it seems like it is.
Yeah.
Can't admit he's wrong. But all right. Let's
So
talk about St. Louis Grand Theft Auto video game
the
that
newest,
we got here.
most viralist couple on the internet. No, it's not Prince somebody or Princess another person. It is actually, I don't even have their names. Kevin, do you know what their names are? I don't know what their names are. I guess I'll just
they're
start by
a white couple.
Please.
how they're identified in every single story. I know they're lawyers from St. Louis, and where are their names?
Oh, so they're attorneys. See, I
yeah,
didn't even
they're
know that.
attorneys. Yeah.
So while Kevin's looking this up,
The article didn't have their names in it. That I
the
sent you.
articles, I didn't see it anywhere. So just to bring you guys up to speed, you're probably seeing all these memes all over the internet right now of this couple, which I'm going to throw up on the screen for you right now. There they are. Who there was a protest and people marching for this protest in St. Louis to, I believe they wanted the mayor to resign. Is that right, Kevin?
That is correct. And I do have their names. It's Mark and Patricia McCloskey.
There you go.
So-
So Mark and Patricia felt that their home was in danger. It sounds like, based on everything I've read, that they actually lived in like a private gated community, and that it was actually fenced and walled off from the public.
Yeah. So there's like, the paint a visual for you guys listening in Radio Land. Like there's like a stone wall, and then there's like an iron gate, and people like walk through the iron gate, and that leads to like kind of a private road where this home is.
Yeah. So these people came here on this, this private road. Does that make the road private property? I'm kind of thinking it is.
It's apparently like maintained in part by the city because it's like a historical site. So I guess
Okay.
this couple like refurbished that house into like a national historical monument type of thing.
Okay,
So-
interesting. I mean,
so
the
that's-
place
that's
looked
what it
beautiful from the pictures. That's
Yeah.
for sure. So this couple, worried for damage to their property, comes out of their home with firearms, and they're standing there, and it's just kind of bizarre how things look. And the first thing I would say is that there were two things. As somebody who has been involved in firearms my entire life, I am a certified firearms instructor. You do not point a gun at somebody unless you're planning on shooting, and you definitely don't have your finger in the trigger. Like those are like, if you look at the fundamental rules of firearm safety, wow, when I saw that, I had like this giant knot. My stomach like twisted up.
Yeah.
It really it messed with me seeing that, like how that happened. Now that part aside, there's a lot of discussion and questions about, is what happened legal? Could they have done that? Does the castle doctrine and the castle law apply here? I didn't know they were attorneys. My guess is, being attorneys, they probably knew what they could and couldn't do. My guess is that they felt comfortable with what was going on. But there's these
Maybe, but-
videos of people walking by their home, protesting, and some of the images showed it looked like the people walking through were actually on their property, but I couldn't get legitimate,
Yeah.
valid information on that. Is that true, Kevin?
Yeah, so like it kind of looks like a few of them are kind of walking up onto the lawn, the sidewalk, things like that. There's pictures, like just one picture of the woman she's pointing the gun at people on, and she's carrying a handgun. For if you haven't seen this picture, she's carrying a handgun. She's got her finger on the trigger the whole time, and like there's pictures of like protesters on her front lawn, and she's pointing her handgun at them. And, maybe it's like 20 feet away. So people were kind of coming up, and again, it's a little bit murky to me, and I'm seeing different things, whether or not the street itself is like semi-public, Like it's like private, but like sort of not. Like people can be on it, but it's like access is supposed to kind of only be for these houses, and they're trying to get to the mayor, and they just happen to come up on this house instead.
Yeah.
This couple was not the target of this, but they're out like grilling or eating or whatever in the back area when the protest kind of came through and scared them. And I did want to make a comment on the lawyer thing, just because I think in the heat of the moment, if you're terrified, you might not be thinking as clearly as you may want to about what is legal and appropriate in these situations, which is why training's really important. And we can get into that a bit, but I don't know for sure that what they did was legal, because I am not a lawyer, nor am I an expert in Missouri law. But in the heat of the moment, it's hard to remember all that stuff, even though it's very, very important that you remember that stuff.
No, absolutely. And not just that, but if you are in fear of your life, you kind of switch into survival mode. And most state law that I've seen, if you're in fear of your life, that is basically the only justification to use deadly force. I'm going to assume Missouri law has something similar to that. And I would be willing to venture and guess that this couple probably saw media report after media report after media report of across the country, people breaking into stores, people beating people. You saw the video from Rochester, for example. Cop cars overturned, vehicles being set on fire, and that, I'm sure, was something that was going through their mind as well. I don't know how it couldn't be. Like, if you had seen that, I don't know how you couldn't at least be thinking about that and wondering, like, is this what's coming to me in my home? Now, I wasn't there, but I would imagine that if all of a sudden I looked out front and there was just a horde of people coming in the direction of my home, the most recent thing I've seen on the media with hordes of people is not good. It's not, so of course your mind's going to jump to survival mode. It's going to jump to, oh crap, I'm scared. What do I do? The very first thing, though, is, wow, I mean, the way they were holding these firearms was definitely not safe. It's just a scary situation. I'm sure every firearms trainer and many firearms owners across the country probably had a mini heart attack when they saw what was going on, especially you watch the video. So that,
and they kept pointing it at each other too.
Yeah,
Like,
so that's the thing. So we call that flagging, where like the barrel of your firearm is pointed at another person, especially somebody who you don't want it pointed to. And you do see him kind of like holding it to the side and like moving and stuff and like pointing his gun at his wife. Yeah, not good. Really, really bad. If you take away anything from this, take away that you need to get some firearms training if you don't have it, because there could have been a way that happened that would have been safe and would not have drawn the amount of scrutiny that I'm sure is coming on top of what already has happened. And I'm kind of thinking they're probably going to get away with this, and I don't say get away with it like what they were doing was technically wrong, but geez, I could never bring myself to point a firearm in the direction of another person unless I was truly thinking that there was going to be like death involved if you don't get involved. So I
think I might have said something incorrect too. Someone said muzzle. Make sure you don't point the muzzle at someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the question becomes, is what they did, was that defending property and maybe their life? Yeah. And
is this what the Second Amendment is supposed to look like?
Yeah, is that the thought? Is that, and I'm asking you as the listeners who have hopefully seen a little bit of this, do you think that this is a Second Amendment win? Do you think this is a Second Amendment failure? They certainly looked foolish, but if there was a threat, nothing happened. So we're going to expand on this a little bit more when we come back from the break. I'm going to read through the comments, see what you guys have to say. Feel free to call in too. Let's dissect this. So we're going to be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
More than twice the power. More powerful FM 92.1, FM 95.5 West, and 1040 AM WYSL Avon Rochester.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center today. Plenty of sunshine and dry conditions with temperatures in the upper 70s for the high. We'll continue to stay muggy not only today, but through the rest of the week and tomorrow. Those temperatures will return to the lower 80s for the high. A few stray showers, that's going to be southwest of Rochester over by the Finger Lakes tomorrow. Other than that, not a lot of rainfall headed our way this week. This is Samantha LaRocca with WYSL.
Hey, grab a pen. I'm going to give you a phone number I hope you never have to call. The number for attorney Christopher Johnson. Chris handles car and motorcycle accident cases and DWIs and serious personal injury cases. So if there's an accident or other incident, this is the number you want in your glove compartment. Ready? Here's the number, 585-415-3803, 415-3803. With this number in hand, you'll have on your side experience, individual attention to your case, and integrity, as opposed to a supposed no-fee guarantee. No attorney charges a fee until you win. Integrity is way more important than learning a lawyer calls his mom every day, or that he played Twister as a kid, or watching glammed-up actors playing ex-clients bragging about their million-dollar settlements. Just remember the number for Christopher Johnson, attorney we hope you never have to call. 585-415-3803. Stay safe, be healthy, drive sober. Christopher Johnson, attorney, personal injury, car or motorcycle accidents, DWI defense, good to know.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Stop into Springwater Amish Workshop to enhance your outdoor spaces. We have Amish-built yard furniture, decorative yard art and novelty pieces, lighthouses, windmills, and wishing wells. Our picnic tables, benches, garden benches, rocking chairs, swings, and gliders can be made out of poly in your choice of colors or double kiln dried, organically treated southern yellow pine. Summer will be here soon, so don't delay. We're reopening for business, and we're following COVID-19 CDC and DOH guidelines. Did you buy baby chicks? We have 2 chicken coops in stock ready for delivery. Check the new inventory of 2020 storage sheds and gazebos arriving weekly, or we can order just what you want. Check our website, springwateramishworkshop.com, or like us on Facebook for a look at what we can do. Springwater Amish Workshop, 7936 Mill Street, Springwater.
Our community is strong. Even when we can't be together, we stand together as families, neighbors, and local businesses helping each other. As an essential business and community partner, Tompkins is here for you with online and mobile banking, programs to help our lending customers, and peace of mind, knowing that our focus is you. We're here to help you stay strong, get through this, and rebuild. For our customers and for our community, Tompkins Bank of Castile is here.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For over 75 years, Villa of Hope has risen to meet the changing needs of our community. Caring staff at the Villa know trauma and how it can change your life. As we face personal challenges, the Villa stands as a place where individuals, youth, and families can rebuild relationships, recover potential, and renew hope for the future. For more information, visit villaofhope.org or call 1-833-993-HOPE.
Genesee Country Village Museum is opening just in time to celebrate America's independence on Saturday, July 4th. Outdoor games, a black powder shoot, music, food, and a reading of the Declaration of Independence. Plus, join us for a visit by abolitionist and scholar Frederick Douglass. New safety measures in place. Visit gcv.org.
All Seasons Wine and Spirits, East Main Street in Avon, has a great selection of the newest and flavored liquors. Celebrate Independence Day weekend with Blue Lord Cider, limited edition Ring of Fire. Open daily 9 to 9, Sundays noon to 9. All Seasons Wine and Spirits.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We've got Kevin Wilson here with us.
Yep. And, shout out to our listeners who are always so helpful and wonderful with providing us information right in the moment. So thank you, listener Jay Hamill, who sent us a link to an interview with the gentleman involved in this situation. And so it's about a 9-minute interview. I posted a link into the live stream for any of you listening online. So that was very informative because he gave his side of the things too. So it's not just seeing it on the video, this moment divorced from context. So you're able to kind of see their point of view and what was going on and why they acted the way they did.
Yeah, and so if you're just joining us here on the show, we're talking about the couple down in St. Louis who you've probably seen on social media at this point and in the news, who had firearms out in front of their house while a protest was coming down their private road. Looks like people were even potentially on their private property. Kevin, can you give us kind of like a summary of his side of the story based on what you were able to gather from that?
Yeah, just watching the video really quick. The highlight is that the group did break down the gate. What he says, like it was closed and locked before. He said that they broke it down. It wasn't just like open for people to walk through, but they came up onto the property. He says it's private property. It's not a public space, being out. And, as soon as he did that, he, told him like, hey, this is private property. You can't be here. Don't get. And he said that, they started threatening to kill him, threatened to live in his house and kind of eat the rich type of deal, right? Like people were doing that kind of angry mob mentality. So he went and grabbed his rifle. He insists that he never pointed his rifle at anyone. He said he kind of admitted in the interviews, obviously you can see the video and the photos of it, that his wife had done that. And he said, his wife doesn't know anything about guns. All she knew that she was terrified and she came out to, defend the property because she was scared because they said that people are threatening to kill her. And that within minutes, he said, of the video and the photos going out, they were already getting death threats to both him personally and the business that the law firm that they run. They ended up boarding up the thing because people were threatening to burn down the office building, all that stuff. So that's kind of his thing. It's just, again, it's you have an angry mob who doesn't even quite understand what their target is. All they know is that there's some rich guy in a big house yelling at them about private property, and they're happy to, break out the guillotines at this point. So, he wanted to defend. So that's the point of view that he's presenting.
Yeah. So I think that there's a few things going on here worth bringing up. The first being actual fear, right? Like somebody breaks down a barrier that you believe is your protection. Yeah, that brings fear. And then they come up on your property. That may very well be justified. And I think what we have here is we've got, the two different sides seeing different things. I think you have people who see their side of the story and go, holy crap, I would be terrified if that happened. They were totally justified. And
so
maybe,
hold on, before we go any
go
further,
ahead.
Andrew, let me put a massive disclaimer on this discussion. Neither of us are lawyers. We're not giving you legal advice. We're not telling you you're going to be okay doing any of these things. We're just opinion commentators looking at the situation as Second Amendment advocates.
Yeah,
that's all we're doing.
And I'm not even talking about legalities. I'm talking about
that's what I'm saying.
Emotion here.
Exactly. And that's why I just want to clarify. We're not saying anything is legally justified. we're not lawyers. Do not listen to us on that stuff. Like, you need to talk with an actual lawyer about that.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
So I think the emotional reaction for some people is that this is very justified, and that maybe, or not even maybe, that absolutely they need some training. They were not being safe. If he didn't raise up his weapon in the direction of the protesters, his rifle is definitely pointed at his wife.
Yeah.
So, even if he didn't point it specifically at the protesters, there was some serious safety issues there. But I think there's a number of people that look at this and go, yeah, that they feel emotionally that this was justified.
Yeah, I mean, I get
think
it. If
the death threats that we're seeing come from the other side, where these people say, and I saw the post, I saw people saying, these are peaceful protesters, why are you pointing a gun at them? And so their side, emotionally, they see a group of people who, and a bunch of minorities, and they see rich white people with guns pointed at minorities in their neighborhood, and they don't understand the context. Or maybe they do understand the context and still feel that it's not right. And I would say that those people probably don't feel emotionally wrong. And I think emotionally they might look at it and be like, yeah, why are you pointing guns at people if they're not doing harm to you? They probably don't realize what happened in the beginning. I think context is going to be extremely important here. So in terms of a Second Amendment win, I want to say one thing for sure. The imagery, I think, is a loss. I think the way that they handled their firearms is a loss for the Second Amendment community. However, there wasn't damage to their property. People didn't come assault them. It did what it was supposed to do. And I think probably there's a pretty good justification to say 30-round magazines, standard capacity, pretty important. There's no way they would have really been able to defend themselves long term, against that many people with what they had.
Yeah. No, it's just, not really possible. And people are making comments too, like, a mob could overpower these people with firearms and everything too. And you got to be careful about what you're doing, both from like a legal perspective. Pointing guns at people's a big thing. It's different from just having your gun out and showing it. But I look at the situation and I get that. I get, like, if there was a group of 100 people outside of my house, that's what I would be thinking too, is like, well, should I grab a firearm? Do I look like I'm prepared to defend myself? Is that the right thing to do in this situation? But I think a lot of people are going to look at, like, the context of the overall situation and think, like, yeah, this is why, like, if you have a group of people that isn't, if they're not listening to logic because they're riled up into a frenzy at this point, how do you defend yourself when you may not be able to count on police coming in the next few minutes?
Yeah. And I want to emphasize too, there are many places in the country, it actually may be the majority of the country, where open carry is 100% legal. And they could have been standing there in front of their home, decked out with every firearm known to man, and probably would have been legally justified to do so. I think the biggest scrutiny piece is going to be pointing the gun at somebody. I really think that's going to be the biggest piece of scrutiny there. But there's areas of the country, unfortunately, New York is well, actually, no. In New York, you can on your private property. I'm about 90% sure. You can have a firearm open carried on your private property. It's the second you step into the road or the sidewalk or any public property that you can't. So I believe, and somebody should fact check me on this, that even in New York State, you could stand in front of your property with a rifle. Of course, probably a watered down, SAFE Act compliant, not very functionable rifle.
Right.
And you would not be breaking the law, I believe. But the moment you take it a step further, I believe you'd be in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me read off some of these comments too, because we're getting a lot of comments on this one. Jamie says, yes, win. How else would you protect yourself, your property from the mob? I wouldn't have raised the muzzle though. let's see, what else? Michael says, me and my wife would have done the same. The mob came, but the couple had equalizers. The mob didn't expect that and moved on. And then, people are debating whether or not, public versus private property, doing things like that. As you kind of mentioned, on your private property, it's a little bit different. But that is part of it. And other people talking about Drew saying he had walked with the pro-life group in the 80s, and someone had pointed a gun at the church group. If someone had pointed a gun at the church group, he would have been freaked out. And yeah, sure, if you're part of a protest and you don't really know what's going on, you think you're going to the mayor's house, and some dude comes out with a rifle, you're gonna be like, what is happening?
And this may change how protests happen. They might think, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll stay away from the private property. Maybe that's a bad idea.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, they wanted to put pressure on the mayor, which wouldn't even get into any of that stuff. They want to put pressure on the mayor for defunding the police, and there's something with the mayor had supposedly published some letters that had address information on it, and that's why they were upset with the mayor. But again, you're part of a protest. I've been in some in Rochester, and you're like, okay, so we're just gonna kind of follow the crowd and see where it goes and see what happens. And you might be just kind of following in on this. And oh, okay, so we're going down this road, I guess. Sure, people said we're heading to the mayor's house, and then suddenly you look out, and there's this couple. There's this guy with a rifle and a woman with a handgun, pointing at people. So, it's a way to certainly escalate that situation. And I think if you're on the other side of that, you have to be aware of how showing a firearm escalates that situation too, and kind of try to, in the heat of the situation, think about how your actions can do that. Or if you're, part of a protest too, if you're threatening a house, you're threatening people, be aware of how your actions can escalate tensions and create a situation that is really dangerous for everyone around.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If people feel backed into a corner, they're gonna defend themselves. That's not even just human nature. That's just the nature of things. That could be, an animal or anything else. If you feel backed into a corner, you're going to use whatever means you have to defend yourselves. All right, guys, you're listening to Radio Free New York. We're going to take a break. When we come back, let's maybe talk about fireworks. We'll be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Aircraft Environmental Systems proudly supports Radio Free New York. Rochester-based leaders in climate simulation chambers for America's R&D laboratories. We're experts in troubleshooting, calibrations, custom designs, and consulting for more than 40 years. Industry pioneers, we created the first ever fleet of temperature, humidity, and altitude test chambers available to rent coast to coast. Trained and trusted by environmental chamber manufacturers, we are ACES. Find us at acesinc.com.
Fiorella, a family-owned farm-to-table Italian restaurant at the Rochester Public Market, is open for curbside contactless takeout Wednesday through Saturday. Lunch 11:30 to 2 and dinner 4 to 8. Fiorella offers wood-fired, old-world-style pizza with naturally leavened dough and house-made fresh pasta. Check out our Facebook and Instagram at Restaurant Fiorella for nightly specials. Thursday is gnocchi night. Call 434-5705. View the takeout menu on the web, restaurantfiorella.com.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We've got Kevin Wilson here with us. Over the break, we got a phone call from Terry in Rochester, and he wanted to make sure that everybody knew that it was a gated community, and the protesters did break down the gate to get in. And there's some other information too, like their dog being threatened, saying they were going to kill the dog. You know, if those things are true, which I'm saying if they're true because things can kind of expand over social media and even mainstream media we see all the time is just wildly wrong with their facts. Yeah. But if those things are true, I think these people were probably pretty scared. I believe that.
It's totally understandable. So, I mean, Terry, thank you for making that phone call and adding to the conversation there. We love your phone calls, guys. Thank you. And, you know, I do want to add one other thing is that apparently this couple say they support the Black Lives Matter movement, too. They actually are generally supportive of this stuff. And they said that the actions of a few individuals who choose to exploit the otherwise peaceful protest, put them in fear of imminent harm, don't represent the whole thing. So it's interesting because they support, apparently, Black Lives Matter and police reform. They just don't like that a group of angry individuals came up and threatened them. Yeah, which is fair.
And that puts an interesting twist on it. It's like, we actually support the protesters, just don't come scare the crap out of me.
Don't come up onto my property, threaten me.
Yeah, that's so that is certainly an interesting bit to add there. Now, let's talk about the fireworks real quick. I mean, we don't have enough time to really get into it, but I think unless you want to shift it to another day, Kevin. What do you think?
We'll talk about fireworks. We can talk about fireworks. We got a couple minutes.
So I'm just gonna lead with my theory, if you will, about the fireworks, and then you can tell us all the conspiracy theories. And I think it was Jay way earlier in the show. He had mentioned that it's only a conspiracy until the facts show up and prove that it's true. My theory is, and it's just kind of like a general thing, is that the police want the fireworks to go on for as long as possible. And they want that to happen because people will turn around and beg for more police funding. So right now the conversation is defund the police. And the fireworks have been going on before that, by the way. So I'm not saying this is like some conspiracy that was put together. I think that the police and law enforcement right now are probably going, yeah, you want to reduce our budgets? You know what? That's fine. We don't need to really worry about these fireworks. And I bet you when they look at call volumes, I bet you call volumes are going to be higher now than they have been in the last 5 or 10 years. And they're going to say, see, look at this. You reduced our budget. We got more calls than ever before. You need to increase our budget. And I think if it goes along long enough and further enough, that more people are going to actually ask for increased police funding. Yeah. So there it is.
Although let's be clear about something. No one has actually felt the impact of budget cuts for police yet.
No, but that doesn't matter.
Not a single department. It doesn't matter. Like Rochester cut like 3.7%. It hasn't actually happened yet.
Yeah, but that'll be, I think, the justification to say, look, we took 10,000 calls in one day. Never mind those about fireworks, and we're operating at full budget. We need more money. That's That's my thought. So let's hear some of these conspiracies.
What'd you do with it when you had full money? But no, conspiracy theories, a lot of them are very similar to yours. That
okay.
Except for people have taken it a step further to say that the police or the government somehow is getting fireworks to people. They're actually supplying the fireworks to create a situation where people are tense and feel like they need the police to step up and step in to solve this nuisance for their neighborhood. And so that's one level of conspiracy. You want to go a level deeper, which I've seen. Let's go. Let's dive down that rabbit hole.
I saw only one, and it was pretty intense. So we'll see if it's what you got.
So the next layer on that I've seen is that the police are doing this not only to justify their existence and increase budgets, but also to desensitize our communities or communities of color specifically, depending on which conspiracy you're reading, to the sounds of explosions happening all the time so they can conduct warfare on neighborhoods without it raising alarm. That if you're hearing constant pops and bangs and all that stuff, when they start attacking and raiding houses, you won't even notice. It'll just sound like fireworks in the background. So the government can attack all of us.
Yep, so that's actually the one I saw, which I thought was wild. You know, I even think that it's probably, I don't know, government's done some things, so it's kind of hard to, I don't believe right now that there's any evidence to suggest that the police or any other government agency is distributing fireworks. I'd be happy to be corrected if I'm wrong. So that's a bridge too far for me right now. The idea that they're supplying them and then also like hoping to go and raid communities without raising awareness because they've created this war-like feeling in the communities is pretty far for me. Once again, somebody could maybe change my mind, but even presented with the evidence, I don't know if I would believe it.
Yeah, no, it would take a lot for me to figure that out, or to agree to that. Like, I think what you said, I think there could be some truth to that. There could be some like, well, you don't want us to respond to this stuff anyway. You're cutting our budgets. Why should we deal with this? Like, if you don't want us, then go figure it out on your own. I think there's some plausibility in that. And you can see some videos of like, I saw one of New York City. It was a bunch of kids shooting Roman candles at each other. They're having a Roman candle fight in the middle of the street, and police just kind of drove through it and did nothing. Which to me, I'm like, I get why people would be upset by that, but also this happened before this year, and also if you haven't had a Roman candle fight, you haven't lived. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Don't do that. It's really stupid.
That's like a rite of passage. Having a Roman candle fight. So
Listen, kids, don't do that. But also,
don't do it at home. But if you do it at your friend's house, it might be okay.
Don't. Hopefully, it's a dumb idea, but it's not an uncommon thing, right? And I don't think kids should be like arrested for that. It is stupid. It is dangerous. You can hurt yourselves. You can catch buildings on fire. It's a bad idea. You got to be really careful, like when you're treating, or dealing with fireworks. But I think there's definitely some merit to what you had to say. But the simplest explanation, I think, probably the right answer. People are just bored. Just bored.
Could be, yeah.
That's all it is.
But I do gotta say though, I mean, somebody's got a serious fireworks budget. Because it's just nonstop all night long. You
ain't spending that money on bars anymore. What else are you gonna do?
You know what? That's a good point. I guess I don't really spend much time in bars, and I do hear from friends how much it costs to go to the bars. So yeah, I guess the bar money maybe switched over to fireworks money. I guess that's a possibility. And in addition to that, it's been hard to get firearms. So maybe people are like, well, can't get guns. Can't get alcohol. Guess I gotta get fireworks. I don't know. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to Radio Free New York. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow.